Okay, it's now 1:21. Let's go on the record. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Today is January 22nd of 2025. The current time is 1:21 p.m. The question and answer portion of this public hearing just ended. It went on quite a while. If you had questions about this rate case, I hope you were able to get those answered. Now we're transitioning to the public comment portion of this hearing, and that is a chance for the public to offer comments to the Commission about Ameren, Missouri's requested rate increase. Now, the Missouri Public Service Commission has set aside this time today for a local public hearing in file number ER-2024-0319, which is a general rate case captioned as in the matter of Union Electric Company doing business as Ameren, Missouri's tariffs to adjust its revenues for electric service. My name's John Clark. I'm the regulatory law judge overseeing this hearing today and presiding over this case before the Commission. Now, the Missouri Public Service Commission regulates the rates charged by investor-owned utility companies in Missouri to ensure that those rates are just and reasonable. The Commission also regulates the quality of service and the safety of operations of investor-owned utilities in Missouri. Now, the Commission is made up of 5 commissioners. There's the chair of the commissioner, Kayla Hahn, and Commissioners Maida Coleman, Jason Holzman, Glenn Kolkmar to my far left, and Commissioner John Mitchell is not present today, but I believe is attending via WebEx, as is Chair Hahn. So they are hearing this today, and they are able to respond if they want to. Now, the commissioners are appointed by a governor to a fixed term, are confirmed by the Senate. They employ a staff of engineers, accountants, attorneys, financial analysts, and other specialists in the field of utility regulation. And as I've already said, with me today in person are Commissioners Holzman, Coleman, and Kolkmar. Now, there's a court reporter, because this is a formal hearing, there's a court reporter that is transcribing the hearing so that the Commission and myself can read the transcript later if we want to look back over any of the comments. I'm going to open this hearing by asking the counsel for the various parties to enter their appearance for the record, starting with Ameren, Missouri.
Do you want?
Oh, I apologize. I'm sorry I hadn't gotten there yet. But Commissioner Holzman, would you like to make some opening remarks?
Yes, please. Thank you. Commissioner Jason Holzman, on behalf of Chairwoman Kayla Hahn and all of the commissioners, we'd like to welcome you today to this local public hearing. This is an opportunity for us to hear from you. Your testimony does matter to us. None of us have made a decision in this. This is a process by which the company will bring forward their proposal. We will hear from the public, and then we will have a series of evidentiary hearings where evidence will be presented by the stakeholders and the companies. And at the end of that, the Commission will make a final decision on what the order will be, and then we will all vote on that order. We cannot answer any questions today. We are just here to listen to your thoughts, but we do appreciate you showing up. We know there are a lot of things you could be doing at 1:30 on a Wednesday afternoon, and you're here with us, so we do appreciate it, and we thank you for your time. Welcome to the hearing.
Thank you for Commissioner Holzman. I'll get back to entries of appearance on behalf of Ameren, Missouri.
Yes, appearing on behalf of Ameren, Missouri, Jennifer Moore. And Your Honor, did you need business addresses for the record?
I do not.
Okay.
On behalf of the Commission staff.
Thank you, Judge. My name is Travis Pringle on behalf of staff, and my contact information has been given to the court reporter.
Thank you, staff. On behalf of the Office of the Public Counsel.
Lindsay Van Gerpen on behalf of the OPC.
Thank you, Public Counsel. Are there any interveners present? I know there are a few interveners in this case. I hear and see none. Now, we have a number of people. We have about 20 people that have signed up to provide comments today. That's a significant number of people. I want to give everybody who signed up to provide comments today an opportunity to give their comments to the Commission. To that regard, I'm going to limit comments to about 3 minutes apiece. When you get to about 3 minutes, I will let you know, and then I'd ask that you finish your thought and so that the next person can comment. Because with 20 people at 3 minutes apiece, that's about an hour of comments right there, and that's not accounting for any spillover. When I call your name, please come down to the microphone There, I'll place you under oath. I'll ask you to state and spell your name for the record, and then you can offer your comments to the commission. After you've made your comments, please wait just a beat at the microphone, because I may have questions for you, or the commissioners may have questions for you, or it's possible that the attorneys may have questions for you. If the attorneys have questions, please get my attention so that I can allow you to ask your questions. If commissioners have questions, please just go ahead and ask, or if you need the mic, just let me know that you need the mic to ask your questions. Now, as Commissioner Holzman said, the commission's not going to be able to answer your questions today. This is still an ongoing case. They have to remain impartial. They haven't made any decisions, and we're confined right now to the information that is in the record, and that would be information such as things that have been filed, but would not be included in the record would be the question and answer portion of the hearing, because those things that come out then may not be things that are part of the record of the case. So for the same reason the commission couldn't be present during the question and answer portion, it's the same reason that they're not going to be able to answer your questions today. It's because this is still an ongoing case and a decision has not been made in this case yet. If you have questions about the case that you didn't get answered at the Q&A, I would invite you to contact the company, the Office of the Public Counsel, or the commission's staff for those questions. I also know that utilities can get very emotional and personal for people, and that's because these are essential services that people use on a daily basis. And I understand that, and so I understand that this is going to be emotional for a lot of people. What I'm going to ask is that you treat each other with respect, that there's a variety of opinions here and a variety of things people want to say. Give them an opportunity to say what they want to say to the commission. And please treat everyone as you would like to be treated. Okay, with that in mind, I'm going to call my first name on the list. And if I butcher your name, please let me know. Mike Lamming? Mr. Lamming? And Mr. Lamming, would you please state and spell your name for the record?
Mike Lamming, Mike-Lamming.
And do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give at this local public hearing is the truth, or the
Yes.
comments you're going to offer?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. What would you like to tell the commission today?
Well, I was here in 2023 for an Ameren rate increase. That was 15%. Now, here I am once again, less than 2 years from that date, for another Ameren request for a 15% rate increase. That's 30% over less than 2 years asking for an increase. In the private sector, if you try to raise your prices by 30%, chances are you're not going to be around for another year. So with that in mind, the Public Service Commission is viewed by me and a lot of my peers as a protectors against a monopoly that is a regulated monopoly, but a monopoly nevertheless. No competition. So we look to you to be the gatekeepers to stop this insanity of a 30% over 2 years. They asked for 15, you gave them 8. It's the name of the game. You ask for more, you know you're going to get less. And it's based on a fuel surcharge. With the current administration that wiped out most of the impedance to better fuel accommodations for exploration and that, I think this is not a proper request. I think that you should take it in consideration. It's not going to be immediate, but within the next 2 years. There should be a drastic change in the energy. So I ask you to take that into consideration and be our protectors. Don't take this lightly. You're the only thing that stops them from taking all the money out of our pockets. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Lamming, for your comments.
All right.
Vicki Heisman? And thank you for the phonetic spelling.
Yeah, I'm going to say, wow, I'm surprised no one gets my name right. You're great.
Well, I guess it
Eastman.
wasn't me, and it possibly wasn't you, but somebody put the phonetic spelling
That's
out to
right.
the right of the name for me, so.
That was a good job.
But I'm
Thank
getting
you.
off, I'm getting off track. Ms. Heisman, would you state and spell your name for the
Sure.
record?
Vicky Heisman, VICKY-HUESEMANN.
Thank you. And do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give at this local public hearing are the truth?
Yes.
And what would you like to tell the commission today?
Thank you. I am a retired residential customer on a fixed income, and I live in the small starter house that we bought decades ago. It's not going to help me to try to downsize to get my electric bill down. I'm already there. So that is a concern. And it's not just an almost 16% increase on my electric bill. Every vendor, anything I need to purchase, from groceries to even maybe my water bill, I have no idea. But everything else I have to purchase, those people also have a near 16%, let's say 14 to 16, the way they just talked about it. And that's going to be added to every other bill that I also pay. So this is a huge deal, you know, and it's not just an increase on just my electric bill. It's an increase on most of my expenses. I'd like to also mention that I agree, and I made some similar comments, with the gentleman that spoke about the transformational changes that we are under. And I think, too, that needs to be considered in what Ameren's plans have been under previous administrations and what we're seeing looking forward. And I think that's very important that we need to do that. I feel also that there are a lot of young families, even though I'm retired, fixed income, there are a lot of young families really struggling under the situations that we have had. And they're, you know, trying to raise children, trying to keep food on the table and everything else. And they're probably not much here in the audience because they're not able to make these kinds of meetings, but they need to have a voice. So I really encourage the Missouri Public Service Commission to take these things under advisement and to be fair on all parties on this and to consider the burden that is placing on people. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Heisman. Thank you for your comments. We do hold local public hearings at different times of the day to try and catch different demographics, but I'm sure we don't catch everybody, but thank you. Bill Malik.
Bill Malik, M-A-L-A-C-H.
And Mr. Malik, do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give at this local public hearing are the truth?
Yes, I do.
And what would you like to tell the commission today?
Thank you. First of all, my name is Bill Malik. I'm the city administrator for the city of St. Peters, Missouri. I want to thank you for allowing us the opportunity to speak. Also with me today is Mayor Pagano and two of our aldermen. First of all, the city of St. Peters has always had great working relationships with Ameren. We have done several projects throughout the years to attract businesses and drive the economic impact of the St. Louis region. We also support Ameren's opportunity to strengthen their grid, provide resiliency. However, I'm here to express the city's opposition to this approximate 15% rate increase. Several residents in our community are already feeling that financial strain of rising costs of living, adjusting to Ameren's 2023 rate increase of approximately 11%. Increasing electrical rates another 15% at this time would impose an undue burden on businesses, families, seniors, and individuals on fixed incomes. As we know, electricity is not a luxury, it's a need. The city understands investing in maintaining infrastructure as we operate and maintain our own water and wastewater utilities. We understand increases are needed to reinvest in this infrastructure, but we also understand the importance of incremental rate increases. However, some of these additional funds Ameren will be generating will be going towards alternative energy projects. These alternative energy projects appear not to be as cost effective as existing traditional and proven electrical generation options. We request Ameren and the PSC to conduct further cost analysis on these proposed alternative energy generation projects and limit the amount of funds going towards these type of projects. We also stand this approximate 15% rate increase as a significant increase for our ratepayers. This increase alone will cost the city of St. Peters about $425,000 in additional costs. And guess what? That additional cost will have to be passed on to the same ratepayers. Majority of that cost will go to our water and sewer utilities. So the same ratepayers that are paying, not only going to see a higher electric bill, they're going to have to see a higher water and sewer bill and other program fees as we pass on these costs. We are asking the PSC and Ameren to consider either a lower rate increase or spread the 15% rate over 2 or 3 years. And we're also requesting Ameren to start each increase instead of during the peak demand season when electric costs are the highest, started at the lower costs, so it's the off-peak season. It was stated earlier in the question and comment that Ameren has stated they are approximately 28% below the national Midwest average for electrical costs. According to the Edison Electrical Institute, typical bill and average rates. I personally understand the 20% below the national average because Midwest energy is lower than the East and West Coast. But I can't see how they are also the same percentage below the Midwest average and also be below that Midwest average after the 15% rate increase. It's also understood that this rate increase will generate an additional $446 million. Ameren has reported significant profits in recent years. It was reported in a 2023 news article that their Missouri operations profited $562 million. And for the overall company, it was about $1.1 billion. And also it was mentioned that the dividends on Ameren stock is about 3%. We discussed that during the question and comment period, but it's also forecast to increase about 7%. So after hearing all that profit, it's kind of hard to reconcile the request for higher rates in a 1-year time with the financial challenges our ratepayers are facing when Ameren is reporting these significant profits. The City of St. Peters Board
And
of
just to
Aldermen,
let you know, you're at 3 minutes.
I'm about ready to wrap up. All right. The City of St. Peters Board of Aldermen passed Resolution 1670 this month on January 9th, opposing this 15% rate increase, and it's been submitted to the PSC and Ameren and other legislative officials. I'm also aware of other St. Charles County municipalities that have also passed similar resolutions. I thank you for listening to me today. I look forward to collaborating with PSC and Ameren to come up with a better solution than implementing a single 15% rate increase during the peak electrical demand season. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Jen DeRose.
Hi, that's me. This is way too high. Sorry, thank you. Way better. Thank you, dear. Appreciate it. Hello, thank you. Oh, I'm supposed to state and spell my name. I'm Jen DeRose, Jennde, capital ROSE. I do work for the Sierra Club, but I'm here today as a private citizen.
Okay, that was my next question.
Yeah.
You've given comments several times before the commission.
Yeah,
correct?
that's correct. That's correct. I'll actually do it again tonight. Yeah.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give at this local public hearing are the truth?
Very much so, yes.
Okay, please go ahead.
Great. Thank you all so much for being here. It's really great to see you, especially traveling to be here in person. It really means a lot to me. Thank you for hearing the voices of all the people that have come and bravely spoke and asked questions of Ameren. I'm going to keep this sort of brief. Ameren reported over $500 million in profits in 2023. They're currently asking for a 15.5% rate increase. That includes an increase to 10.25% in corporate profits. That's higher than inflation, and it's higher than the increases in local wages. increases will continue to harm families and put them at higher risk of disconnections, which is incredibly disruptive for human beings trying to live their lives. Currently, 166,000 households are past due on Ameren's bills. So, and I speak from my heart here. You talked about this being emotional. I'm emotional about this because I've personally experienced that energy burden, and I've actually had to move 2 different times when I was a renter living in poverty because of a high energy burden. That moving, the cost of the moving and the cost of the bills set me back for years. I was trying to go back to school, and I had to put it off for like 3 years while I tried to get my life in order. As y'all know, when people are living in poverty, it's like cascading impacts that really, could take their toll over time. So my point there is that rate increases have affect the vibrancy of Missouri. It's not just that they affect individuals, but like it prevents people from becoming their full selves and being able to really contribute in a way that is meaningful when they're under the crushing foot of poverty. So that's something that I just think is really important to consider. And then I also wanted to say that Ameren has a responsibility to its customers, not just shareholders. And that means planning for a livable future, not just short-term profits for a lucky few. And the last point I'd like to make now, I'll talk more later, but the last point I'd like to make now is that it is unreasonable to allow Ameren to use ratepayer money for things like office parties, CEO travel, fancy hotels, sponsorships, promotions, greenwashing advertisements. They're a monopoly. They don't need to use our money to advertise to us. We're stuck. There's not any more, they don't need to advertise to us. They're also trying, again, to get ratepayers to pay for their membership fees for the Edison Electric Institute, and that's a group that lobbies for the interest of investor-owned utilities. Customers should never have to pay for any of these indulgences. Again, they're a monopoly. They have us. Thank you so much for hearing me speak, and thank you for hearing me speak again later tonight, and I'll stay if you have any questions.
Mr. Rose?
Yes. Yes.
Now, when you say that you think it's unreasonable to allow Ameren to use funds for advertising or for the Edison Electric Institute, is that something we allow now?
It's something they're proposing in the rate increase, as far as I understand it, yes. And I don't think that's appropriate. And they do use money for advertising, as far as I know, currently.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Uh-huh.
And thank you for your comments. Laura Brown?
Good afternoon. Laura Brown, Laura-B-R-O-W-N.
And Ms. Brown, do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give at this local public hearing are the and what would you like to tell the commission today?
Full disclosure, I am an Ameren stockholder. Not enough that I'm going to be able to live off of it, but I do have stock in Ameren, and my brother works for the company. That being said, as of December of 2024, I am now fully retired. So I've effectively cut my income in half. I do have my late husband's pension and my survivor's Social Security benefits to live on, but that's pretty much it. I live in, as Vicki said earlier, the starter house that we bought many years ago, and it's all I can do to stay in there and pay my bills, feed myself, and do whatever needs to be done in a life of retirement, which I hope to enjoy. But I'm one of the lucky ones that I'll be able to afford to live my life. There's a lot of people that live in my neighborhood, I live in St. Charles Hill subdivision, that won't be able to afford a greater increase in their electric bill simply because they just don't have the money. A lot of them are retired, a lot of them are like me, widowed or widowered, and they just don't have the income. And I just would like to say that 15% is a really big amount. I wouldn't begrudge the utility any amount smaller than, I shouldn't say any amount, but an amount smaller than that to do what needs to be done, because inflation affects the utilities as well as the general public. But I just wish that they would consider a lesser amount, and as someone said earlier, maybe spread out over a longer period of time. that would make it easier for the general public to absorb this kind of increase in our cost of living, because as has been observed, if one utility goes up, they all go up. And that's really it. Everything I wanted to say has already been said by people much better than I. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Brown, and enjoy your retirement.
Thank you.
Renee Clark.
Good afternoon. My name is Renee Clark, RENEECLARK.
And Ms. Clark, do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give at this local public hearing are the truth?
Yes.
Okay, please go ahead.
I'm here because I am opposed to the rate increase for several different reasons. Most of them are my own personal reasons. I'm tired of replacing smart appliances because of Ameren's power surges that we have complained about. You get about 1 year, specifically the day after your 1 year warranty, and now I have to buy a new washer because of the computer systems in that appliance. It's hard on my other appliances, including my electric furnace and AC unit. I am 2 properties from our county co-op, Quiver River Electric Co-op, and I cannot flip because of the monopoly system. I cannot flip-flop because of the state law. I would have to pay Ameren to retire my service, have no electric for several months before Quiver River could come in and give me service, much less expense than Ameren. And I feel that that is not fair. I also have, they installed smart meters, and for health reasons, I declined the smart meter. Well, I'm penalized for that health condition and not being able to use their smart meters by $40 per month. And I watch a man drive up, get out of his car, come and check my meter. It takes him all of 2 minutes. And so I feel that is unfair, and we've argued with them about that and get nowhere. And I don't believe I should be held accountable for poor decisions. The Senate Bill 48 that is being considered in Missouri legislation right now will entitle them to recover their construction costs. I'm in construction, and I have been fortunate enough, I'm not going to complain about my job, but I've been fortunate enough to work on one of their projects. And I have witnessed firsthand inappropriate use of money that could be better spent, and I don't feel that we should be held responsible for that. I believe that by them being an investor-owned entity, that the customer is put at a lower standard than those investors. I believe that a lot of their decisions making is going to be based on those investors and they're happy, because those investors, if they're not happy, they're going to invest in something else besides Ameren. Us customers are forced to be invested with Ameren. We have no choice. And I don't feel that we get the consideration that we should have from Ameren for that reason. Because of my dealings with them, it's always, well, that's the way it is. And that's the way I feel it is, that we are left there just to live with whatever they is. And today I came in here with my own personal motivation to imply my disgust with this move and not taking into consideration all the people who are not as fortunate as I am. I have a home, I have a warm home, and I don't worry about paying my bill like others are unable to pay their bill. And listening to people here today makes me want to fight even harder, not only for myself, but for those people as well. Because I know that I have a family member that has been in poverty, and I didn't even consider her, which I was so focused on myself. And those are the people that need your help more than I do. And I think Ameren I've been to some Ameren parties as well in the construction industry, and it is quite a party, I can tell you that. So I appreciate your time, and I know I'm running long here, so thank you for your work.
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Clark. Certainly, obviously, we're here about the rate increase that Ameren's proposed. The PSC, we're not a legislative body, and no decisions are being made here regarding any bills before the Senate, okay, or the legislature. Dave Lewis? Is there a Dave Lewis? Mr. Lewis, would you stay and spell your name for the record?
Sure, D-A-V-E-L-E-W-I-S.
And Mr. Lewis, do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to offer to the commission are the truth?
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Yes. I retired in 2020 and moved over here, and as another gentleman mentioned, there was a rate increase in 23 and now one again requested in 2025. The 15% seems to be a pretty excessive ask, especially when you start looking at the financial position of Ameren. I mean, with the earnings the last 2 years, and then also looking at what they are wanting to use for return on equity to attract shareholders. I mean, I understand everybody in the game has to make it work. I mean, Ameren's got to make a profit. The customers have to be able to afford it. But I think there could be, I mean, if interest rates drop and energy costs at least flatten out or maybe drop, it may be premature to go ahead and allow a big increase right now. I know they mentioned that they've had some rate decreases. I don't know if you guys do public hearings on those, but I wouldn't think you would. And I don't remember those. I've never seen my electric bill drop. So, I mean, you know, they can say they've had 2 decreases in the last 5 years or whatever, but I don't ever remember those, and I don't really notice it in my checkbook. So the other thing is as the Public Service Commission reviews Ameren's financial conditions, I don't know, do they, if they dig into the amortization of fixed costs and so forth like that, if those things are being looked at, you know, there's accelerated depreciation and then there's actual life on the way things can actually be done. And if I've got a $2 billion asset that I write over 5 years, it's sure going to look worse than if it's a $2 billion asset that's going to last for 10 or 15 years. My earnings and my returns are going to be a little higher if I don't try to push that hard. And I don't know whether you guys get into that accounting or not. They also mentioned that they get a lot of rebates and tax credits from the green energy plans that have been in place with the government. And those monies that come back in, are they below the bottom line, or do they just flow back into the working capital? And are they considered as part of the financial condition and the liquidity that they need to operate the profitable business? So I understand everybody's got to make a living. I just don't want anybody retiring early. Thank you.
Mr. Lewis, thank you for your comments. To let you know, I do know that that in examining this, the parties do look at accelerated depreciation versus regulatory accounting. So I do know that that is one of the factors that's considered among other things. Jennifer O'Connor. And Ms. O'Connor, would you please state and spell your name for the record once the mic gets lowered?
Sure. Jennifer O'Connor, Jennifer_Connor.
And you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give at this local public hearing are the truth?
Yes.
And what would you like to tell the commission today?
Good afternoon. My name is Jennifer O'Connor, and I am the Finance Director for the City of St. Charles. for letting me today. Ameren is proposing a 15% rate increase to recover the costs of major electrical system upgrades as well as cleaner electricity generation investments. This is after an 11% increase from 2023. I understand that this is infrastructure. Ameren's annual report from 2023 states that Ameren, Missouri is generally allowed to pass on to customers prudently incurred costs for fuel, purchased power, and natural gas supply. The report also goes on to state that Ameren's pension and other post-retirement benefit plans were overfunded by $500 million. The rate increase will have a substantial impact on the City of St. Charles costs to the tune of about $500,000. The water and sewer operations will have to absorb a little over half of those costs, with public safety and city streetlights absorbing the rest of those costs. The City of St. Charles water operations and its citizens have already been burdened by the increase in debt service payments to ensure safe drinking water for residents and visitors. The average resident will see about $17 per month increase on their bill. However, the Social Security Administration only approved a 2.5% COLA for 2025. So to take Vicki and Laura as an example that were up here earlier, a retired senior citizen on a fixed income with an average monthly increase of $49. So $17 a month will be added to their electric bill, or 35% of that COLA that Social Security awarded to them. For a disabled person, the average monthly increase is about $38 a month. So that $17 a month average is about 45% of that Social Security Administration COLA. In October of 2024, Ameren reported every 1 in 64 households have been disconnected from service, for a total of nearly $28 million in past due bills. Disconnections are a symptom of the increasing burden costs to the customers. It seems that we are in an endless cycle of increasing rates, disconnecting customers, while Ameren's highest, in 2023, the 5 highest paid executives took in a combined total of $27.2 million in compensation. At the City of St. Charles Council meeting on January 20th, 2025, the City Council unanimously approved a resolution opposing the proposed rate increase by Ameren and urging the Public Service Commission to deny or significantly reduce the requested increase. I have a signed copy of that resolution if you would like it. And thank you for your time.
I would like it. Thank you very much, and I will attach this to the transcript of this local public hearing as Local Public Hearing Commission Exhibit 1. And thank you for your comments. Liz Callahan?
Hi, Liz Callahan, L-I-Z-Z-C-A-L-L-A-H-A-N.
And Ms. Callahan, do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give the commission are the truth?
Yes.
And what would you like to tell the commission today?
So in between March and November of 2024, Ameren disconnected 90,000 households while making their 400 and whatever, I don't remember the number exactly, millions of dollars. We've heard about their compensation for their highest paid workers. I think that when we take profit motive as more important than consumer good, we're really doing harm. So you've heard from other families that are struggling or will struggle to pay these bills. When you look at it, it's about $200 a year for the average residential customer. And my family today, we could take that, we'll be okay. But 15 years ago, when I was a single mom of 2 kids, as a teacher, making less than $30,000 a year, that would have been devastating. $200 doesn't sound like much when you make a decent salary, but it is a huge deal when you can't decide whether or not your kid can go to Cub Scouts because you can't pay the $35 fee. So on behalf of people like me, 15 years ago, and the community that I tried to serve, I did run last year for political. I lost, obviously. But on behalf of us, please think about the harm that it does when you make these raises in monopoly situations that people cannot escape. There's not an option to move when $35 is a burden. That's just not even in the world of possibilities. So really people are stuck with the company that they've got, and you are the only barrier in between them making these decisions and the people who feel the burden of it. I think everything else has been said better than I could, so thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your comments, Ms. Callahan. John Alferman?
Okay, my name is John Alferman, Johnalfermann.
And do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give the commission are the truth?
Yes, sir.
Please go ahead.
Okay, some of the things I've got written down here have already been said, but I'm going to expand a little bit. The lady just mentioned about the 2.5% increase cost of living adjustment. I looked it up. Over the past 10 years, the average was 2.75. Like I say, I got this off the internet. That's the best thing. I'm trying to tell the truth by what I got. This goes along with this rate increase. I'm going to try and explain my position with a hypothetical situation. I believe everybody up here has gone out to eat now and then. Okay. You go to the place, you think, yeah, they're going to charge you $15 for your meal. You think that's reasonable. Okay. Now, during this winter weather, someone had to shovel off the snow in front of the restaurant so they could make their services available. Then someone come and took your order, and then they had to hand that over to another person to read it so they could ring up your bill. And the person that served you was smiling real nice and gave you good customer service. So you're reasonably happy. Okay, now the person goes over and hands you the bill. You see your $15 cost for your meal. But you notice there's some additional lines added to that. Something that says a charge to make their service available. Another one that says, well, we have to read that ticket, so we have to give you your bill. And then the last one comes up and it says, well, this is for your customer service. The guy or the lady that waited on you, and you've got all these extra charges on there. And you think, what the heck? I wasn't anticipating that. But I looked at the back of my bill, and on there is a residential charge of $9 per month. I thought, what the hell is that? Excuse my language. So I looked it up. On the internet, it says it's for the cost of making service available, like shoveling the snow out. Metering or billing, somebody had to look up how much to charge you for that. And then customer service. Every month, $9. I don't think you'd really want to go back to that restaurant if you'd see those extra charges put on there. You'd find someplace else to go. People don't have another place to go with Ameren. I think businesses have to be very responsible for what they do for their customers. I stand before you right now and I'm battling 3 types of cancer. I've got doctor's statements to prove it if you want it. Okay? I can't get long-term nursing care. So I want to be a responsible person. I saved up my whole life to fund my own long-term nursing care because I can't buy it. I think Ameren has to be responsible in those measures also. All these people sitting before you have their own story. I'm just a regular guy. But please take all these people's comments to heart. They're not up here lying. They raised their hands, just like I did, and I've told you the truth. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Alferman. I believe you brought forth some excellent points. Good luck with your fight against cancer. Reese Hobbs? Reese Hobbs? Oh.
Perfect. It's REACYHOBBS, Reese Hobbs.
And do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give the commissioner are the truth?
I do.
Okay, please go ahead.
Well, thank you and good afternoon to everyone.
Good afternoon.
So I've been in the great county of St. Charles now for about 7 years. Moved down here in 2018. And over that time period, let me just give you an African-American business expression that others have borrowed. It's with the money going out the house, it's more than the money coming in the house. Money is funny. And I have watched Wentzville, which is the second city from west to east in St. Charles County, lose many businesses, some of which I loved, like Hardee's last year, a steakhouse, and a couple of others. Then Highway K lost about 7 businesses that I frequented: Burger King, Sonic, O'Charlie's, Potbelly's, Party City, and a couple others. Again, money funny. Then in St. Peter's, the O'Charlie's and St. Peter's went out of business as well. I bring this up because when these businesses get a rate increase like what Ameren is proposing, they have to try to pass it down to their customers. And I can tell you, money will be funny for those businesses because the customers are not going to be happy and they're not going to take it. My wife, who's a member of Planet Fitness, Hot Works, and the YMCA, there's a group of them that travel around, they just exercise like crazy, good for them. But they've already said if they go up again, and they will have to go up because of this increase, they're not coming back. Money will be funny for those businesses. Now, it's already been articulated by Vicki on my left and I think Mike from St. Peter's. This rate increase is going to drive businesses out of business. Now, when that happens, this is what happens. Now the business is not contributing in terms of sales tax. The business is not contributing in terms of property tax. And it hits the state too, because now those employees that would get income tax from this, give income tax to the state, gone. All 3, gone. Just got a rate increase in 2023. We didn't like it, we sucked it up, we took it. And I'm aging myself when I say this. When I was a kid, a Snickers, that same Snickers that you buy from the end cap at Snucks or Dearborn, used to just cost a nickel. Well, you know what it costs now. We expect things to gradually go up, but this is a monstrous increase. So I'm going to close by saying the following. We don't want money to be funny for our businesses. We don't want money to be funny for our homeowners and our seniors that are on fixed incomes, the single-family homes out there. Please deny this rate increase. And with that, I'll take any questions if you have any.
Would it be fair to say, if I'm summarizing, it appears that a lot of your comments are centered around economic development. And it appears that what you're saying is that as the if the businesses are unable to pass on the increases or suffer customer loss, that you're starting a downward cycle that where the increase fuels a downward customer base from which to fund it. Is that correct? Or am I saying that?
It absolutely is correct, but I have an even better phrase for you.
Okay.
For a few years now, we've been frightened by the expression defund the police. This rate increase will defund the businesses.
Okay. All right. Thank you for your comments, Mr.
You're welcome.
Hobbs.
Thank you for hearing me.
Give me just a second. I'm taking a note. James Swan. Swain, I apologize. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, sir.
And Mr. Swain, would you spell your name for the record?
James, or Jamesswain.
And you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give to the Commissioner are the truth?
Yes.
Okay, please go ahead.
I have kind of a question even for Ameren. Is they spiked their peak time up, I believe, around 3 to about 10 p.m. Well, we're tied. Each American is tied. Who comes home at 10 o'clock at night? Not very many people. Your kids come home from school. They got to do homework. They're on the computer. We're constantly on the internet, so you have to be hooked up to electricity all the time. We humans now have to have the computer because our iPhones have to have charged up. So we're constantly with this electricity. We cannot get away from it. And then now we're going to have another tax increase, which you already got a peak time, which we're tied. We can't go anywhere else unless we go get our own generators, but then we're tied there too because we got to get gasoline to fill those up. So you guys are asking for an increase, which we do all realize because everything's going up, nothing's going down, but now you want a little bit more, but we are tied as numbers. You're cooking, you're cleaning, you're trying to get the kids go to school or possibly even go on a ball game. Guess what? Everything's got to be washed. You can't have a dirty jersey. So everything's being used at this peak time. The peak time needs to go away and just be the regular, because the rates are actually up higher on that peak time than they are during the other times. But that's what I got, and hopefully you take that in consideration because everybody's tied to electricity one way or another. And now we got these electric cars. That's going to take quite a bit of turn there too. I do not know what it costs to park and plug your car in. I do not know that. But I do know it went up 10% when my friend actually put his car in the garage and had that hookup. So right there, he's paying more just to have that car. And then he's got to pay for everybody else to get clean, pay for cooking, and then the kids doing their homework online. Just hopefully you take that in consideration for each and every one of us, because that's our time, is the peak time is when everybody's together. You're going to kind of split everybody away. But thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Swain. When you say spiked their peak up, you're talking about time of use rates, correct?
Yes.
And you're opposed to time of use rates?
Yes.
So you believe that a flat rate all the time is a better?
Yes, sir, because number one, you got us tied. Your kids at school come home around 3 o'clock. I don't know what time you come home, sir, but I come home around 5 o'clock. That's the time to talk to the kids, see if they're homework, get your laundry get started, because they might have a game or whatever, just for the next week or the next day. And then you got cooking, and then your time, which is the TV. Watch a movie with your family. And that's why I'm saying just a flat rate, because you've already getting a little bit more than what the increase is already there, and then you're going to increase it, well, then that peak time is going to go up again. So that's why I'm saying I think you guys, no offense, but getting enough I think the American people need to have a little bit more in their pockets also.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Swain.
Thank you.
Sandy Meyer?
Sandy Meyer, excuse me, Sandimeyer. Sorry.
And do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give to the commission are the truth?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Wow. Thanks, everybody, for talking because they've made great points. My point is Ameren makes a lot of money. I understand that they are reinvesting. They've put in $1 billion worth of infrastructure that is already online, so it's already producing a profit for them. I suggest that they take their rate increase out of their profits because they make a lot of money already. But everybody else that said all the stuff they said, I'm right behind them. They did a great job. Thank you. Good.
Thank you for your comments.
Oh, and plant trees.
Plant trees, aren't I? That was plant trees, correctly?
Correct.
And I apologize, I think I'm going to butcher this name. Emily Buckins?
It's Buchanan.
Buchanan, I apologize.
No problem.
Sorry, Ms. Buchanan.
Thank you. Emily Buchanan, E-M-I-L-Y, Buchanan spelled strangely, B-U-C-K-H-A-N-N-O-N.
I think it was spelled fine, I just don't always read handwriting really well, but thank you. And do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give the commission are the truth?
Absolutely.
Okay, please go ahead.
Thank you very much for hearing my comments and for everyone else here. So I am not opposed to a rate increase. I'm opposed to a 15.5% rate increase. And so a lot of this conversation has been about the average impact to the local consumer. So I thought I would give you a specific impact on a local consumer, i.e. my electric bill from last year. So my electric bill from last year was $1,684.04. If we do a 15.5% rate increase, that's going to be $261.02 more that I have to pay for my services. Services I love and enjoy. I love electricity. I love it, love everything about it. I don't want it to go away. I just want it to have a reasonable cost increase. So you break that down to a monthly cost increase, the average everybody was talking is 17%. My increase would be $21.75 a month. That's 2 sandwiches at Jersey Mike's. I know, got them the other day, 2 sandwiches. Now, here's the only difference. I can choose not to go to Jersey Mike's and have a sandwich. I can't choose whether or not I will consume electricity. I need to heat my home, light my home, have clean water, have warmth. Those are the things I must have. So for me, it's a matter of balancing a rate increase with those things which I have no choice over, i.e. the consumption of a utility of electricity, versus some things I do have choice on, whether or not to make my own sandwich or buy it at Jersey Mike's. Everybody here has already talked about the impact on the regular person. There it is in specific. I would encourage the commission to consider a lesser rate increase. People have spoken about incremental increases. 15.5% is not incremental. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Buchanan. Richard Orr?
My name is Richard Orr, R-I-C-H-A-R-D-O-R-R.
And do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give the commission are the truth?
I do.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Orr.
Well, thank you for this opportunity. I just want to say I never thought I'd be making a statement like this because it's such a commonly used expression that I'm on a fixed income, but lo and behold, I'm on a fixed income. As is my wife, we're both retired. We're getting along as well as we can, but utility costs are high. I think, as many people have pointed out, this is too soon for Ameren to seek another rate increase of this magnitude, just after having had one 2 years ago. But I'm actually wanting to talk about the situation that my daughter is in. My daughter is a retired Army sergeant who is on full disability after her service in Iraq and Afghanistan. She's getting by fairly well on her pension and disability, but fixed costs, her income is fixed, and these costs hit her really hard, especially given her medical situation. She would be here now, but she's at home using a machine to help her with her peripheral neuropathy. She really wanted to be here, so I'm speaking on her behalf. But she, in order to save money, she went on a rate plan with Ameren, evening and morning savers, where her energy usage to be in this program has to be reduced during the day, so she has her thermostat dialed down automatically for her to accommodate this program to 66 degrees in the middle of the day. Well, part of her medical condition is she suffers greatly from the cold. So in order to save a few dollars a month, she's on this plan, but you know, she's suffering. So these increases may seem minimal, but they have great impact on a great many people. And I just wanted to outline her situation, because I'm sure she's not the only one in a situation like this. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Thank you for being here to speak on behalf of your daughter today, and thank your daughter for her service. Thank you, Mr. Orr. Matt Epstein?
It's pronounced Epstein.
I apologize.
E-P-S-T-E-I-N.
Mr. Epstein, do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give the commissioner are the truth?
I do, so help me God.
Okay. Thank you. Go ahead.
First of all, I want to thank the commission and the very important, critical work you do. Everyone has provided very eloquent testimony on a personal level. I just kind of want to follow my line of thinking to add to this hearing on the questioning I had to Ameren. One, like when I asked who the major shareholders were, that information was not provided, but let me suggest that major shareholders probably include big hedge funds like Vanguard, BlackRock, big multinational companies that do not care about the interests of Missourians, much less Americans. They're just interested in profit. I think at this particular moment in time, with this very transformational election, and I'll make 2 points on that. One, President Trump just passed a national emergency executive action. He's going to be doing everything he can to expand our United States energy reserves and coal and oil and things that have kept energy prices low for Americans and have been the great engine of economic growth and prosperity, not only for Missouri, but for the country. We're on the largest reserves of coal and natural gas and oil of any other nation in the world, especially when you open up ANWR. The point being is Ameren has ways to make money legitimately, and by the way, they're a monopoly, so let's not forget. So we're vulnerable. Without your protection, we all suffer, and without electricity, we all die. So it's absolutely an essential service, and that's why you all have a grave responsibility in what you do as public servants to protect the citizens, taxpayers of this country and this state. Ameren has two ways to increase its balance sheet and make an honest profit. If you lower costs, if you lower prices, you attract more people and more businesses into the state. and then you expand your customer base. The other thing too is they're really tone deaf to ask for a rate increase, not only on the heels of a 2023 rate increase, but also right now when we're on the cusp of policies that are going to bring down inflation by increasing our energy production. That's going to drive down prices. This isn't guesswork. We saw it in the first administration of President Trump. When he left office, I think I was paying $1.87 at the pump. Now we're paying $1.50 more. So that affects those costs. The other thing about Ameren, in terms of their investment, they can restructure their corporate debt as interest rates come down. But are they going to pass that costs on to the consumer? No, not unless they're forced to. They'll just pocket that windfall. And once these rates go up, they tend not to come down. So I would suggest that the commission not do an incremental rate, but table. I mean, they're not going out of business anytime. Table the 15% rate increase for a year. This time next year, let's see if these new federal policies, which by the way, they're tax credit policies, which are basically come from the federal taxpayer, which is all of us, pay for and subsidize a lot of their investment. And that investment's going to shift to nuclear and coal because the Green New Deal is dead. So all these points together, I just want to say, I urge you to table their rate increase for a year and see where we stand. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Cynthia Cooper.
Hi, Cynthia Cooper, C-Y-N-T-H-I-A, Cooper, C-O-O-P-E-R.
And Ms. Cooper, do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give the commission are the truth?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Hi, I am a disabled Missourian. My husband, he is a essential worker. My mother is also disabled, and my father-in-law is was a combat medic in the U.S. Army. We all are chronically ill. We all have health conditions. We can't even make ends meet. And I know many other people in my community are the same way. We often choose between either paying a bill that's past due or buying medications that we need to live, to be able to be, not even just to live, but to be able to work, to bring in that money. And I hear all this talk with shareholders needing this, shareholders needing that, but I'm not really hearing anything about what we need. And all of this was determined by everything that happened before this current presidency. There's now executive orders being put in for sweeping things being different. So these numbers really shouldn't even matter because that's not the same world we live in today as it was all those days ago. We are living in a different world. We don't know what's going to be happening soon. Nobody really knows. So before we find out what's going to happen, this needs to be looked over, and then after all that information, then a choice can be made of what kind of smaller rate that might need to be made. But honestly, the people right now, we cannot live what we're doing now. There are hundreds of online comments to Ameren, the consumer comments, about them being totally against this. I printed this out for you guys. I just want to share one comment. It's from a 81-year-old woman. While I do appreciate excellent and timely service from Ameren, a 15.49 rate increase is out of line. An additional $17.45 a month would stress my budget. My retirement pensions and Social Security increases are 2.05% each. Even totaling them, I would have a total increase of 6.15%, which is drastically less than the request of 15.49%. What is an 81-year-old lady supposed to do? Go back to work? Thank you for considering my comments. That's what she said. And I know many, many other people that are exactly like this. All these people, fixed income. And this also impacts internet. And that is a vital, vital resource. How is that American battling cancer back there supposed to research anything if he doesn't have access to internet? This is vital, vital, vital. And I really appreciate you guys being here in person to hear us. So thank you.
Thank you. Ms. That piece you just read for me, is that printed out from comments on the PSC website, or is that printed from somewhere else?
Yeah, PSC website, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And I have an individual here who just put down a first name, Val. And Val, is there a reason you didn't want to give your last name?
No, I just wasn't thinking. It's my first time, so.
Understood. Would you state and spell your name for the record?
Yeah, Valerie, Valerie, last name Ament, Ament.
And I'm sorry, spell your last name one more time, please.
Ament, Amen with a T, Ament.
Thank you. And do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to offer to the commission are the truth?
Yes.
Okay, and what would you like to tell the commission today?
So, looking around, I'm probably the youngest one here. Going without saying, I took work off to be here. I don't get paid a lot. My median income before taxes are taken out is $46,000. I am married. My husband maybe makes $10,000 more than me before taxes. We rent. We have been renting since 2017. Our rent has gone up over 35%. When people talk about a fixed income, I really understand that. But as a person who is a younger demographic, I guess, it's really hard to maybe plan for my future family, future children thoughts, building that. I know that I am very unlikely to get a home in the area I work in, so that I would have to increase my drive time to find an affordable place to live and hope that I have an affordable electric bill. Because everything costs, and our cost of living, we all know, going up, never going down, because that's just how it is. No matter who's in charge of the government, no matter what company is in charge of the electricity, we have no choice, ever. We haven't had any choice for years. And I'm being unpaid to be here today. I chose that, I did. And I just want you to take into effect the people who work, like me, 2 to 3 jobs just to make my $1,135 rent, which on average over a course of years is $14,000. I also have a $14,000 car loan that I make on payments on a monthly basis to make sure I have my car to drive to work. It is really hard to just balance an additional $17, and my rate increase is going to be $15.77, 15.77% in my area, and I'm a renter. I have no way to get any additional break. I can't put solar panels anywhere. I try to find a job close. Again, with the peak hour time fees, I do my laundry at 11 o'clock at night. I stay up until 2 in the morning to get my laundry done for the week for my family. I am working. I have to then be at work at 7 a.m. I am so tired, and I'm working so hard to just get ahead. I'm barely above water. I just want you, in general, because to just take in the fact that there are people with fixed incomes, and then there are younger generations like me who really do want to have a house and a family, and this rate increase does call into question if I can even do that this year, if I can even plan to have a family. That is unimaginable. crushing weight because I want a family. And this is really hard. And I know a lot of young people can't be here today because it was scheduled at noon in the middle of the workday on a Wednesday. I was lucky enough to have an understanding boss to let me have this day. Not a lot of people have that. And I know that there are other alternative times, but there needs to be more like awareness in general, because most of the people who I talked to who are in my age group didn't even know this was happening. And they're the people who rent, and they don't really have a voice because they can't get here to say their opinion. So I just think the rate increase should be either lowered or incremental, because this is very much life and death for some people, and that should not just be cast aside because we just want to make $500,000 more money for or $27.5 million for our CEOs. And I have no power at all to say, because I need what their commodity is. I need it. I can't not have it. So that's all I had to say. Thanks.
Hold on just a second. Ms. Amon, thank you for your very clearly heartfelt comments, and thank you for taking time off to be here today and let us know how important this is to you. One thing struck me when you were talking. You said you said in talking to many of your peers that are your age that they were unaware of that Ameren had even proposed a rate increase. Why? And I'm just asking you to speculate, and you may not have any idea. Why do you suppose that is?
So I got a text message, and it was, again, from an unknown number, those random messages we all get. And I check it because I have personally made sure to sign up for text messages, not email, because a lot of the times, if you don't do that on Ameren's website, it'll just go straight to your email, into your spam folder. And if you do not check that on a regular basis, which I'm absent-minded, I sign text messages, and I am one of the only persons in my family who can go. My mom is retired. She was unable to come here today. My sister works. My brother, who is also works nights, actually, for aerospace machining in this. And this is really difficult because he hasn't been able to get his heater fixed in over 6 months. He's still waiting for that. So he's had to use electrical heaters in his house. That has raised his rates tremendously, and it's just him and his cat. And he's being forced to live in that situation because that's his HOA and issues of that regard. But it's a cascading effect, as everyone else has mentioned, that it just pushes people to the brink of where they have to decide, do I pay my electric bill? Do I buy groceries? Or can I get my medicine this week? And that's devastating for a young person who's been told since you've been in school all your life, go to school, get a job, get a family, get a house. You'll have all of this American dream. And I have worked since I was a teenager. I have saved every single time, and any time I've had, some horrible thing happen, car accident, medical problem, it just cascades, and then the rates just go up. And my electrical bill and my rent from 2017 versus now is ungodly higher. And I know I can't control my rent. I have no renter rights in this state. I'm basically forced to live where I'm at because if I move anywhere further, it's going to triple my drive time to work, which then wears my car down, and then the gas and all of the other stuff. So it's just a cascading role for the younger generation that really, really cripples them into debt, and we can't get out of it. And I'm not trying to complain because I work hard. I'm not trying to say that. I just feel like I'm being steamrolled on purpose, and I have no choice because they are the only major. Ameren owns it all. I can't get Quiver River. I'm in St. Charles County, but it's heartbreaking. That's all.
Okay. Again, Ms. Evan, thank you for your comments. Spencer Totter.
Spencer Toder, Spencertoder.
And Mr. Toder, do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give to the commission are the truth?
Yes.
Okay, please go ahead.
So, good afternoon, members of council, representatives from Ameren, and my fellow community members. My name is Spencer Toder. I'm a resident of St. Louis County. We appreciate the opportunity to speak today about the proposed rate increase. While I understand the importance of maintaining reliable infrastructure, I urge us to reflect on what this proposal means for everyone here and everyone in the community. I also recognize that Ameren is a business, and businesses work within the regulations that are provided, and that Ameren is doing its best to return dollars to shareholders. That's its purpose. But in my house, when we make more money or when we have a different net worth, we make different decisions. And I'm here to say that maybe instead of Ameren raising rates, they should consider decreasing rates. The reason for this is because the day at which they recommended the rate increase, the day it was proposed, in June 28th of 2024, the valuation of the company was $18.98 billion. Since then, the stock price has increased to $25.14 billion, an increase of about $6.16 billion, or approximately 32.5%. Now, again, in my house, when we make decisions, we have the ability to change our minds. And in my opinion, this is a request that was made under a different set of circumstances. Yesterday, in fact, Ameren hit the highest stock price that it has faced had in the last year. If I had more money than I'd had in the last year, I wouldn't ask my friends to, chip in for a pizza. I'd be the one buying it, I would think. We're all shareholders. We're all community members. And I've stood there as Ameren has handed out the $100,000 check to leave the lights on in the city of St. Louis, the same time as they're turning off the power for members of the community to the tune of 100,000 people. To me, that's abhorrent. As someone who has friends and family who work at Ameren, it is disappointing that an organization that is so foundational to St. Louis's success and to Missourians' ability to use utilities, which, as we've just heard from everyone here, is an unfair monopoly, that when there is success, when there are dividends being paid out to the tune of billions of dollars, last year there was $1.744 billion given back to investors. With that money, they could have easily covered this rate increase. And that's not even the stock price increase. That's just a gift to people for sticking around. We deserve to know that the people who have the ability to protect us are protecting us. And that stock price increase yesterday, every single article about it said because of favorable decrease in regulations in Jefferson City. That is an abdication of leadership in our state that needs to be overcome. And we need to make sure that we're looking out for each other at the same time, because if we don't have community, we have nothing. And this is decimating our community. People don't think functionally when they're running out of money. I've personally felt that when I had a substantial amount of credit card debt, I couldn't see straight. It's impossible. It impacts families. And this little thing that to many feels like such a little thing is so much to so many others. And so I get that you all are employees of a company, and that the company's goal is to reflect shareholder value and do things like that. But Ameren has publicly committed to being a responsible corporate citizen and a strong community partner. In fact, his leadership has often highlighted the company's dedication to serving Missouri with reliable, affordable, and sustainable energy solutions. I don't understand how this meets those goals. And as a member of this community, I implore Ameren to make a different decision, because I don't think this has to go to another body. I think that Ameren can do the right thing and recognize that if you had that much money, you would make sure that everyone had power, which to me is table stakes. So thank you for your time.
Mr. Toder, I have one quick question for you. You'd thrown out the number 100,000 disconnections. Where did you get that number?
I've heard several different numbers, from 90,000 to 53,100. If any of those are more correct, I'm happy to change my statement. But
I was just curious if you had a particular source.
No, I don't have the source on that.
Because that's a number I hadn't heard before.
Whatever your number is, it's too many.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you for your comments. Donald Looney.
grab my notes here. First, I want to thank y'all for doing this here.
Would you
I'm
mind
sorry.
spelling your name for
Not
the
at all.
record?
DonaldLooney. Donald like the duck, Looney like Looney Tunes.
And Mr. Looney, do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give to the commission are the truth?
I do.
Okay, please go ahead.
All right. So I know y'all got like 3 or 4 more of these throughout the week, and you'll probably hear more of what was already said. So I'm going to be very brief here because a lot of what I wanted to say has already been said. I want to talk about how we're moving into a digital world, right? And the need for electricity is not going away. And when you live in this community here, you see the multifamily dwellings, the single family dwellings going up all the time, right? So somewhere in the midst of here, Ameren is going to make more money. I don't think that this rate increase at this time is what I would consider ethical. Coming off of a year where there was a lot of talk about the price of eggs and the price of milk and the price of gasoline, all of those are only going to increase here locally for us, as you heard from city officials, business owners, and all of those. So my plea is to the Missouri Public Service Commission. At some point in time, these companies have to understand that the cost of providing a public service is the cost of providing a public service. And that cost should not be shifted to the consumer, right? Maybe that cost should come from the pockets of the capitalist because they invested into that service, right? And if they can't get their dividends, profit share, whatever it is, but you're in the business of providing a public service that people need. We need electricity, we need water, we need all these things, gas, light, heat. At some point in time, we need you all to stand up against corporate greed and protect us, because they're not thinking about us at all. They're not thinking about the stakeholders in the community. They're thinking about the shareholders in the boardrooms. And I don't want to have to wait for a decision to come from Washington, D.C. or Jefferson City. All of you were appointed by an elected official somewhere, maybe a governor, senator, or something like that, to look over these types of proceedings. And you have overwhelming testimonies. You have documents. I think a lady said there were 80 comments on your website. Take a look at social media on the Ameren page or any news story that's covering this. You're going to see thousands of comments in regards to this. I don't think the public is in favor of this. So as I said, the cost of providing a public service is just that. It's the cost of providing public service. And maybe Ameren needs to understand that at this point in time. And we need you to stand up against the corporate greed that is pushing inflation with price gouging and all of those other things. I'm going to stop there because I feel like I'm starting to ramble. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Looney. Those are all the people that I had signed up to speak today. Is there anybody else who wanted to offer comments at this time who didn't get an opportunity to sign up? See one individual there. Would you come up, sir? And would you please state and spell your name for the record?
Randall Green, R-A-N-D-E-L-G-R-E-E-N.
And do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give the commission are the truth?
I do.
Okay, go ahead. Mr.
Okay,
Green.
I mentioned earlier at the earlier session about the stock prices and the rate increase that's proposed, and I was just looking at them side by side, and they seem coincidentally about the same, that the stock prices are going up anywhere from projected to go up from 21 to 25, anywhere from 17 to 22%. And that the rate increase, 11% from 23 and then 15%, which probably will be less, will be 26%. So it's right in that. So going off what the previous gentleman said, it seems like we're paying for stockholders. We're not stockholders, well, most of us. And if we are, we're not major stockholders. So, and also, I'd like to question how renewable the renewable energies are. you know, they have a shelf life. And we talked about this earlier also, that eventually the renewables have to be renewed. And there's new technology and all that coming along, but in the meantime, we are building things that have a shelf life. We're paying for things that we're going to have to pay for again, which is a big part of what this increase is an ask for. And then finally, this has been hit on several times, but I'd like to say it again. The approximate $17 per household is not just $17. It comes from, there's added increases to that because of other businesses, other governments, and not just local governments. Eventually the county governments, the state governments, even the federal government, because they're all gonna realize, and I realize Ameren is a Midwest company, but everybody's gonna eventually jump into this. So everybody, it's just a snowball that keeps on rolling. So if there is an increase, which there probably will be, I'd also like to ask that it's incremental, no matter how big or how small. And also it was mentioned earlier to table this until we see what the present administration is going to do about the cost of our energy cost, because it seems like they're going to go down, which this is not taken into consideration. This is on today's pricing and what they projected 6 months ago when they started putting this all together. So we have energy costs that are probably going to come down. So I'm asking the commission also to table this and for 6 months to a year to see what those prices are going to look like. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you for your comments. Is there anybody else who wanted to offer comments today? Okay. Commissioner Kolkmeyer, did you have any closing remarks you wanted to make?
I do. Thank you, Judge. I want to thank everybody for coming out today and giving us your comments. This is step one in a rate case. So, and that's hearing from you, the customers. So we haven't heard from the company. We haven't heard any other testimony, but we wanted to hear from you all first. So thanks again for coming out. On behalf of Chair Hahn and the entire commission, thank you.
Thank you very much for taking time out of your busy day to let us know what you think. We genuinely appreciate it, and we appreciate your time. And with that, I will adjourn this hearing.